Welcome to Vigorous Finance. I'm Coach Steve, and I'm going to teach you how to save money, not by spending less, but actually by doubling up on what you're spending on your bodybuilding and putting that in the bank. So, membership to the gym. Let's say it's $50. You put $50 into the gym membership and you put $50 in your savings account. You spend $50, $60, $80, maybe $10 on testosterone intake. You put the same amount into your savings account. You make your bodybuilding 200% more expensive. Whatever you spend on bodybuilding, besides the food, because you're going to have to eat anyway, right? Even though you're eating a little bit more luxurious protein sources, you're spending way more than the average person because you're eating twice the amount of calories. That is going to be an extra expense. So you don't have to save money for that because otherwise food gets really, really expensive. I know I spend a ton of money on food already. But whatever extra stuff you spend on bodybuilding, let's say it's a gym membership, gear, wrist wraps, a belt, lifting clothes, double that up, okay, and put that into your savings account. Now, what are we going to do with this money? We're just going to let it sit. Just make bodybuilding twice as expensive as it is, because bodybuilding is a hobby, and for most of us, or up until you get a decent amount of information and knowledge, or you get a very good physique and you can monetize that and make money, from looking good, which is not going to happen for everybody, but it will happen for some of you. Once you're making money, now you have the savings, and with this savings, you can do some investing. And whether that's investing in blood work, or echocardiograms, an ultrasound, a coronary artery scan, an MRI, a calcium score test, all those things are very expensive. They're very expensive. And usually preventative medicine or preventative measures regarding your health, they don't fall underneath your health insurance, if you have health insurance at all. So what I noticed with my health insurance back in Holland, let's say you want to go in for blood work preventatively. You either need to make up a story that you feel lethargic and tired and moody and everything is wrong with you, even though you feel perfectly fine, because they don't want to send you for blood work because it costs money for the healthcare provider, right? You're paying money to the healthcare provider, and they in turn paying for the bills that you have when you go to the hospital or a family doctor or, prescribed medication. And unfortunately, some of these medical doctors, or the family doctors, they're not really there they're there to help you, but they always have to keep the expenses of the healthcare provider in consideration, which makes preventative measures and preventative medicine very, very difficult, because they'd rather cure you when you're sick instead of preventing you getting sick. And of course, we're all taking our lives in our own hands by taking hormones, if you're taking hormones. And look at it this way. The whole act of bodybuilding is unnatural. Otherwise, everybody would be huge and shredded and vascular all the time, but we're not. Even without drugs, you'll have to prepare years and years and years and years and years to look good. With drugs, you can accelerate that or get bigger than your natural potential, which might detract from your health a little bit more as well as, the downside of it. So by going in for preventative blood work analysis or MRIs or, organ scans, you're going to be spending a significant amount of extra money because it's usually out of pocket. It's usually out of pocket. And you don't realize that when you start bodybuilding. You're like, I'm just going to spend money on my creatine and my carnitine and my multivitamin. And then later on, as you get a little bit more advanced and you start dabbling in the PEDs, these organ checks become a little bit more relevant, if you care about health. But if you didn't care about health, you're probably not here. Probably somewhere else. So for those guys that do care about health, it's a simple way to afford those super expensive MRIs and ultrasounds and blood work analysis. Very simple ways. Every time you buy a supplement, you just double up. You spend $20 on a multivitamin, you put $20 in the savings account. And you spend $50 on testosterone intake, and you put $50 into your savings account. You make bodybuilding 200% more expensive so that the doubled up that you did, you can spend it on blood work and keep yourself healthy. Because at one point, you will have to go for blood work. And at one point, you will have to do organ scans. And it could be 10 years into your recreational or PED use, or whether that's for contest prep and your livelihood depends on it. At one point, you're going to have to go, man. And it's going to be pricey. I know. I spent a lot of money on this stuff. And I wish I had saved like this when I started. I do it now. So every time I buy, anything that contributes to my bodybuilding, I just double up and put it in a different bank account. And whenever I need to do a checkup, it's right there. I don't have to worry about it because I've been, slowly trickling money into the savings account. And when I do have an additional expense, regarding health, it's right there. I can just take it. And I didn't feel like I restricted myself financially by doubling up on all the bodybuilding expenses, because it's been slow and steady expenses. So it's just a little bit extra every time you spend some money. You put it in the savings account. It's a little bit less that you have during the month, but it's, right there in the savings account in case you do need it. And let's say after 10 years, you're 100% healthy and you don't need this money. That's a great business opportunity waiting to happen, and you can spend it on, or you can buy a house, a down payment for a house or a car or stocks, or, man, it depends on how much you saved. In the end, it's your choice on how you spend it, but it's just a very easy way to save money, by taking all your body expenses and doubling it and just putting it into a savings account. I wish I knew that when I started. I do it now, and it's a very, very, very comfortable and easy way to keep some money on the side, and then, decide to spend that either on health. And if you don't need it for health, or you reach a point where the savings is way above you could potentially spend on, blood work or examinations or, health stuff, spend it on something you like to buy. Maybe you can buy a Tesla car or a Ferrari car or, whatever you prefer. Yeah, it's your money, your choice. Hope that helps and gives you an incentive to use bodybuilding as a method to save money for other ventures later in life. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.